Racing, and there's less than an hour to go to the start of the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. McLaren's Mika Häkkinen is in pole position. His nearest challenger for this year's title, Britain's Eddie Irvine, starts 8th on the grid for Ferrari. ITV's coverage of the race begins right after this programme. That's it for now. I'll be here again this evening at 6:45. Goodbye.
It's going to be a pole position, no doubt about that at all. Over the line, yes, pole position, Mika Häkkinen.
Just brilliant lap, brilliant teamwork.
Brilliant lap. I mean, you blew them away. There's no other way of looking at it. You blew them away today.
Yeah, that's right.
Monza on Grand Prix Sunday. A very special day for every Ferrari fan. But Häkkinen's got them in a corner. Is their World Championship challenge fading away? Hello there, good afternoon from Monza. So this is how things stand. Just a single point separates championship leader Mika Häkkinen in the McLaren from Ireland's Eddie Irvine and Ferrari. But that minute gap has looked like a chasm so far this weekend. You be sure to stay with us after the race for an exciting new competition. But first, with details of another Häkkinen romp in qualifying, here's James Allen.
Mika Häkkinen's grip on the pole position crown tightened even more yesterday with one of his most dominant performances yet. A staggering half second ahead of his rivals for his 21st career pole and the 11th of the season.
When I went around the corner, I turned the wheel, the car really turned that way. When I went on the throttle that time, I got the traction, I got the car what I wanted to have. So the engineers did the fantastic work, and you know, that's the result where we are at the moment. And you know, it was brilliant lap, brilliant teamwork.
But behind the Finn, there were plenty of surprises. Second place went for once not to David Coulthard, but to Jordan's Heinz-Hauer Frentzen. The German, fastest in the pre-practice sessions, fulfilled his promise and was so confident he'd even put a few quid on himself.
I had a couple of bets going on that I could be on the first row here, and it's nice to win, but for myself I was trying really to beat Mika today, and this was not possible.
David Coulthard had us all scratching our heads. 3 times he was on a quick lap and 3 times he aborted it at the last minute. He was looking for a Häkkinen-paced lap, but he overlooked the challenge of Frentzen. The strategy failed, and as he tinkered with the suspension to dial out oversteer in the pits, Frentzen pinched second spot from him.
The reason for having to abort laps was, you know, a combination of yellow flags, traffic, generally just, you know, not getting into a flow.
The green shoots of a Williams renaissance, first sighted in Spa, have now blossomed fully. Both Ralf Schumacher and Alex Zanardi have been fast all weekend. Zanardi was particularly racy on Saturday afternoon, edging out his illustrious teammate.
Ahead of Schumacher and ahead of Salo, and only 0.2 of a second slower than David Coulthard. That was a very special lap.
Ferrari's nightmare weekend continued. 16th and 17th on Friday, they completely failed to find the necessary speed when it mattered. Salo scraped into the top 6, but championship protagonist Eddie Irvine looked angry and frustrated as he tried to wring speed from the car. 8th was his sorry reward. Rubens Barrichello, who replaces Irvine next season, was the meat in Ferrari's sandwich.
The time I did is where we are. Mika's done roughly the same time, bar for a few hundredths of a second, so that's where we are.
Häkkinen sitting pretty with his rivals well behind, but Frentzen will try to win this race today. Coulthard's last chance to stay in the championship hunt, and can Zanardi translate this into points? Plenty of grudges on row 3 after Ralf Schumacher and Salo clashed at Spa. Eddie Irvine will need all the support of the Tifosi to keep his hopes alive. Damon Hill and Olivier Panis start on row 5, ahead of Villeneuve and a fast-starting Jarno Trulli. Then the disappointment brigade, Alesi, Wirtz, Herbert, Pedro Diniz and Fisichella, all much lower down the grid than they really should be. Bader and Genet and the Minardis break out of the back row tyranny, and the two Arrows take their place as wooden spoon contenders.
And after Monza, the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, then Malaysia and Japan. Coulthard's got a good record here. Frentzen has had a great time so far. Michael Schumacher, of course, still unfit. McLaren, they're heading the constructors too. Jordan have already scored more points than last year. If they confirm that third place over the next 2 races, Damon Hill could retire early. More on that shortly. Hello there, welcome to the ITV studio, little enclave in the royal Monza forest. Those Ferrari fans went off the meter last year with the 1-2 Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine, but what a contrast this time round. Hi Tony, what's occurring at Ferrari?
I
ask you.
There's a lot of that going on, unfortunately. There's a lot of development going on, but is it the right development? Salo's telling quote, we're slow everywhere. Eddie Irvine's telling quote, we haven't made enough progress in the last 3 races. It all seems to point to aerodynamics, unfortunately, and it's going wrong. When you're getting beaten by the Williams, which they are, which are very slow in a straight line with the Supertech engine, but yet are very good aerodynamically and very good over the chicanes. They're all scratching heads. Would she have made the difference banging the table and saying, guys, we've got to get it together?
You never know. You mentioned Williams. Great revival here with Schumacher and Zanardi, 4th and 5th.
It is tremendous. It started at Silverstone. Jeff Willis, who I called Jeff Ferris yesterday by mistake, a gearbox specialist, not an aerodynamicist. Sorry about that, Jeff. But he and his team have worked very hard. Loyal, continuity. And when I spoke to Patrick Head yesterday, made little changes all the way since British Grand Prix. Great driving by Schumacher, great driving by Zanardi, who's perfected the left foot braking technology.
Let's have a word with Alex Zanardi. A very tough time so far, but getting it right at last on his home track.
I'm not dreaming of competing with them for the win, but if I will find myself in the position to do it, I will certainly not give up just because normally it's not possible. We should, in theory, look better in a race situation just because not having a qualify engine, we normally have a disadvantage on Saturday, which is not there on Sunday, so we'll see.
Nice guy. Good things are coming right for him. What about a former Williams driver, Damon Hill? Is it going to be over and out after the Nürburgring?
Well, there's this big rumour that if they can clinch 3rd place in the World Constructors' Championship, that he will step back and they will bring in Jarno Trulli in a deal with Prost, and they'll use Heidfeld at Prost. The idea behind it is bring the young lions in early, get them used to their new teams, which is absolutely the way to go about it. And you could get involved with the discipline. Like yesterday, look at this, Jarno Trulli with all that enthusiasm and talent in qualifying, yet he went off. They've got to train him, get him used to the new Jordan team. If they get the chance before November when there's no testing, then obviously it's a nice advance.
Thanks, Tony. Well, let's hear from Damon Hill. He's being just a little bit cagey about the whole situation. Is he going to go on or not?
There's been more stories about maybe you're not going to finish the season, Trulli's going to come in and clear it up for us. What's the situation?
I can't clear it up for you, I'm afraid. You'll have to wait and see.
We'll draw our own conclusions from that, can we?
Okay.
I have to say, our feeling is that if he does confirm that 3rd place, it will be over and out for Damon Hill. Well, Monza is a magical place for motor racing. It's very much Ferrari's home showground. Last year, they celebrated their 600th Grand Prix here. It was a great day for Michael Schumacher. We saw Michael Schumacher at his best, and a wonderful finale for the prancing horse.
Magnificent start for the McLarens. David Coulthard's done what he did last year. Is anybody going off at the Rettifilio? It looks like it. And this looks, it looks to me as though the McLarens are having a pretty serious race of it. David Coulthard leads. I think Häkkinen has got a problem. And David Coulthard has decided he's going to go past Häkkinen. That is Johnny Herbert off in the Sauber. That's a Minardi, that's Meccano. So he's going to be a pretty intimate conversation between Schumacher and Hakkinen soon, and it's going to go like, get out of my way, but he'll get a pretty dusty answer from the Finn. Bang! What was that? That's David
blowing up.
David Coulthard out of the race. Now, if that's happened to him, it's academic now. What strategy? Schumacher's going for the lead in the Rosia, and he's right up alongside, and he's going through. Fantastic! Hakkinen fights back. This is magnificent. The lead changes twice in about 400 yards, and Michael Schumacher leads the Italian Grand Prix. Never ever give Michael Schumacher half a chance. He'll be like a very numbered drain pipe.
Okay, Mika Hakkinen, if you want to win your first World Championship and stop this man winning his third, you've got to get on it. You've got to get after him.
Right off goes Jack Villeneuve, slipped it once, and now he's out of the race.
And look how much harder Hakkinen's driving now, using all of the racetrack and some. I think somebody's either just radioed to him or he's finally realised if you're going to beat Michael Schumacher in this year's World Championship, he can't rely on a superior McLaren. He can't be sensible and solid and come home and score points. He's got to go and fight for it, and it's exactly what he's doing. Just make it, yes. No, he's kept the engine running. Careful now, don't hurry it, don't hurry it. Keep it under control, spin it around. Don't let that engine go. And he's just kept it under control. Irvine's 31 seconds back, so it doesn't matter.
Where is Eddie Irvine in relation to Hakkinen?
Well, Hakkinen lost 20 seconds. Oh, he's gone straight over the chicane again. Come on, Mika. Here it is, look.
Eddie Irvine goes into second position. There is Ralf Schumacher in the Jordan. He's got past Mika Hakkinen. Schumacher wins in Italy. Fantastic, absolutely incredible.
What a great race that was. Michael Schumacher, the ferret up a drain pipe, the only Ferrari winner at Monza this decade. But you'd have seen David Coulthard was in shape to win that one. He was on top of the podium last time out at Spa, but remains philosophical about his World Championship prospects.
No matter how much I think championship, it isn't going to make it happen for me. What is going to make it happen, if at all, is each individual race and trying to get those 10 points from every Grand Prix weekend. So the minute Spa was over, I was thinking about the Monza test and thinking about coming to this Grand Prix. If I can have a good result this weekend, then I'll start maybe looking at the championship because I'll be within 10 points. But at the moment, you have to say Mika, with 14 points ahead of me, with 4 races to go, has the best opportunity to win the championship. And that's not me being defeatist, it's just being realist that he's in the same car as me. It's unlikely that I'm going to win the next 4 races and have him finish second to me in the next 4 races. It's possible, but it would see him having a big drop-off in form.
Needs a 10-point maximum today. Now, if you want to get the lowdown on pit stops, stick around, because that's the topic in Martin Brundle's driving school. You're back with us at Monza, just outside of Milan. Eddie Irvine on his parade lap, just under half an hour to go to the start of the Italian Grand Prix. And Eddie Irvine so far has been blown away by the pole sitter, Mika Hakkinen. Okay. Let's move into part 4 of our very popular series, Martin Brundle's F1 driving school. Martin getting back into the cockpit and opening up a hidden world. Today's lesson is all about pit stops.
If you're a Grand Prix fan, you know that pit stops play a key role in race strategy and track position. Up to 20 men are waiting for you for a regular pit stop here in pit lane. They can win or lose you the race, but the driver plays a key role too. We've received the arrow on the pit board. It's been confirmed on the radio. This is the in-lap.
Second gear across the cross a little bit. Bring it to the inside balance. It's in this time, but we must be quick through that pit lane. Pit lane, incredibly tight. But this is part of the race, so we've got to get through here as quickly as possible. There's the speed line. Okay, I'm heading towards my men at 120 kilometres an hour. Remember, that's faster than Michael Schumacher when he hit the wall. Okay, I'm hitting neutral, holding my foot on the brake, holding the wheel straight, keeping the revs consistent. In gear it says, and we're away. Onto the limiter. Where's the line? There's the white line, and away. Tight corner, full for a lap. Control the slide.
Well, I was satisfied with that stop, but it doesn't always work so well. Here's a Jordan and a Williams pitting at the same time for race position. The Williams skidding into the pit lane, but no problem for their mechanics. Now, who's going to get away first? Clearly, it's Ralf Schumacher in the Williams. A slight problem at the back of the Jordan, and track position has been gained. But there can be other problems too. Here's some driver error from David Coulthard, arriving too quickly in a slippery pit lane, skidding past the pits. Everybody has to move. The wheelmen, the fuel men. It adds 5 or 6 seconds to the stop. This time it's Häkkinen's McLaren. They can't tighten the left rear. This would eventually cost him the British Grand Prix. Let's take another look at that pit stop in the Jordan. Coming in the pit lane now, slowing down. It's incredibly narrow and slippery, being very, very careful through there. Quite a tight chicane. Now I'm looking for the speed limiter line. There it is now, braking hard to make sure I'm not speeding. Now I'm heading for my garage of men. Braking hard, there's a guy with his hand over the right front tyre. I know where to park. Tyres are coming off, I've hit neutral, I'm watching that lollipop ahead of me. It says brakes on to keep the rear wheels from spinning. I'm holding the steering wheel straight. Now I pull for first gear, the lollipop goes up, and I'm confident to pull away. I can't see anything in the mirrors until I'm out in the pit lane, but I trust the man on the lollipop implicitly. Now I've got rid of the speed limiter, and I'm regaining speed out onto the racetrack. A quick glance in the mirror to see if anything's coming, and I join the racing line now. Calculating the time lost in that pit stop is a simple school equation where E equals the time lost. First of all, A, slowing into the pit lane itself and then regaining speed afterwards is bound to cost you around 3 seconds. The pit lane must be negotiated at reduced speed. Then the team garage zone is limited to usually 120 kilometers per hour. Time lost, 24 seconds. The pit stop itself for fuel, tyres and cleaning of the visor and radiator ducts varies. One stoppers take on more fuel, of course, than 2 stoppers. Time lost, 1 stopper, 11.5 seconds, 2 stops, 8.5 seconds, 3 stops, 6.5 seconds. Whilst it feels as if you're crawling down the pit lane on the limiter, it would still take time to negotiate the normal racetrack from pit entry to pit exit. This time has to be deducted, let's say 12.5 seconds. So for a 2-stopper, the total time lost for each pit stop is A plus B plus C minus D. In this case, 23 seconds. In a 60-lap race with 2 scheduled stops costing a total of 46 seconds, the car must be more than 3/4 of a second per lap faster due to reduced average fuel load and fresher tyres to be advantageous. That's relatively easy to achieve, providing there are no problems. It's pressure time for the mechanics. Your life is in their hands. They must get those wheels on properly and, of course, get the fuel on board. As the car heads down the pit lane, they're all thinking, have I done my job properly? Well, that's the theory, and it's very much teamwork, of course. You're sitting in the car, there's so much action going on around you, it's difficult to know exactly what's happening. You feel like the race is passing you by. 8 seconds will never seem longer.
Thanks, Martin. Live to Martin on the grid in a moment. At the Nürburgring in a couple of weeks' time, he'll be telling you all about oversteer and understeer. Now, do you remember the Belgian Grand Prix? 1-2 for McLaren. David Coulthard from Mika Häkkinen. But Häkkinen visibly upset afterwards. Was that down to team orders or the lack of them? Here's Louise Goodman.
It's not the first time we've seen the two McLarens touch while battling for the lead on the opening lap of a race. But in Spa, they both got away with it. Coulthard won the corner and then went on to win.
Here at McLaren, they believe in letting their guys race. The only team orders these drivers are given is not to take each other off. But it's a very different story next door. Ferrari put all their efforts behind their #1 driver, and that's a policy which has drawn criticism.
Irvine's used to playing second fiddle, but now it's his turn to benefit from team orders. In Spa, Ferrari used his deputy Salo to block Ralf Schumacher's advances.
All I've said is that I like to see what McLaren are doing with their drivers, where they're letting them race. as opposed to what Ferrari doing with their drivers, which is one driver to get points and the other driver to do damage to other cars. I think the style that Ferrari have been using in the last 3 or 4 years is rather cynical. But that's my opinion. Other people might have a different opinion.
Why do you think the team comes in for criticism from some of your opponents?
I don't know. I mean, Ferrari is always under the lights. It gives a strong interest to people, to opposition. So, I mean, that's part of, I would say, the glory of Ferrari and the difficulty of being in Ferrari, but we have to deal with it.
It may be every man for himself at McLaren right now, but when push comes to shove, that will change.
There's no question that unless an illogical situation develops, that we will adopt sometime before the end of the season team orders. But it's at a time when it's a fair policy and a policy that we can explain to whichever driver is on the receiving end of those instructions. But because at the end of the day, we are here to win, and we want to win races, the Constructors' Championship and the World Championship. But which driver is really immaterial.
If you look to some other teams who has straightforward #1 driver, #2 driver, they don't have a record what the McLaren has. So people can then make their own opinion, well, who is right, who is wrong.
4 races to go, anything can happen. If Mika finishes in front of me here this weekend, and Eddie does, and it's still looking tight, then I would fully expect the team to want to then start looking at how they can make sure they have, Mika win the championship. It's up to me to make sure that I can be in front of them, and that doesn't happen.
It's a fair bet. If Coulthard doesn't get a good result here, he'll have to support Häkkinen. Well, now it's time for Murray Meets. Murray Walker patrolling the paddock and looking for the personalities. He's found a man with an excellent record at Monza. He's been round the F1 block as well. This will be his 164th Grand Prix.
Now, in today's Formula One, who is one of the very fastest drivers of all, and who is the driver who has driven in more Grand Prix than any of the others? Here's the answer, Jean Alesi. Now, Jean, you've driven for, what, 4 teams, 5 years with Ferrari. You've driven in more Grand Prix than anyone else, and you've only won one of them. What happened?
It's not enough, I know, but you know better than me how much and how many times I had a engine failure or mechanical problems at the moment where I was going to win. So actually this win was a gift from God for sure, and in the past, in the races, I have so much fun with drivers like Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost. So I'm proud about what I did in these last 10 years.
Yeah, I think of the 1980s as one of the golden eras of Formula One. Wonderful races, fabulous drivers. You've driven against Senna, you've driven against Prost. Who do you regard as your greatest rival, the best of all?
So far was Ayrton Senna. He was all the time on the limit, but all the time precise. Even when he was losing the control of the car a little bit, he was controlling anyway.
Now, we all have a life away from the track. Tell me about Jean Alesi, the wine grower. Do you have your own vineyard?
Yes, I have my own vineyard.
Where is it?
It's in the south of France, in Avignon exactly.
Yes.
It's something I loved since, because my grandfather was doing that in Sicily, so I all the time had an eye on it. But now I have time, a little bit, free time to do it, and that's why I'm doing it by myself.
Are you good at it? Are you good at it?
Yes, I am.
Well, now, you've driven in over 160 Grand Prix. How much longer?
I don't know, because my motivation is still very high, and I don't feel the risk at all. So maybe that will be my breaking point when I will start to feel the danger.
Yeah. What then, when you do finish, what will happen to Lacey and the family then?
I don't know, but I would like to stay in the Formula 1 business or in the racing business anyway, because it's my life, and I had so many good moments. I don't want to disappear and to do something different.
Well, we would hate to see you go. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you very much.
We would indeed. Good record, John Lacey. He's been second here twice. He knows his way round this circuit. Red, very much the colour on Italian Grand Prix Day. 53 laps, 3.5 miles the circuit. Average speed just under 150 miles an hour. History has this one as a one-stop track. The latest news on today's race strategy comes now from James Allen.
Well, Jim, Monza, interestingly, is quite an important track strategy-wise, because a lot of teams design their fuel tanks to be big enough to allow them to do a very long first stint here. You go well beyond the halfway stage. The key really is how much fuel to put in the car at the start and when to make your pit stops. I've done 2 computer models for you. You can see here. It's what Michael Schumacher did last year. He started with 90 kilos of fuel, came in on lap 31, and then stationary for 9 seconds, went through to the finish. Expect to see possibly Häkkinen and the 2 Williamses do something along those lines. But another model to go even further, 105 kilos at the start, come in on lap 36, stationary for just 7 seconds. Critically, you've got 5 laps in which to attack people that came in earlier. Expect to see Frentzen try something along those lines, because he wants to win the race today. And also Irvine, because he really needs to make up places. After all, he's not fighting the McLarens today, he's fighting the Williamses.
Those Williams cars, 4th and 5th, and Eddie Irvine just saw a glimpse of him there. Eddie Irvine, he's got to start from 8th place. It really is always absolute melee, as you can see down there on the Monza grid. Mick Jagger was around last year. Let's have a word with Martin Brundle down there. Thought you might got a red wig on, Martin. I'm a bit disappointed about that. It's the normal Barnett. What's going on?
Well, chaos down there, really. Ralf Schumacher's just arrived on the grid, and Irvine's pulling in behind us, as you can see. So, still changing his car. Apparently, he tried the spare car and has gone now for the race, suggesting they're still not happy with their setup. But come and join me in and soak up the atmosphere of this fantastic grid. The Tifosi are here in force, even though Michael Schumacher's not driving the Ferrari. They're having a terrible weekend. Irvine said he thought Damon Hill should stop immediately. There's some talk in the paddock that Damon Hill may well be, if Jordan secured 3rd in the championship, not running all the races at the at the end of the season. But DH, sorry to interrupt. Bit of rumour about that if you secure 3rd for Jordan, and you might not go to the end of the season.
Well, I've always said that I've wanted to help Eddie get the 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship, and so a lot rides on Heinz today, and also myself, because we have a battle between Williams and ourselves, and they've got 2 Williamses up there, so Heinz needs to score as many as he can, and I've got to get something.
Okay, well, in that, if you're not going to be at all the races, maybe, and I hope you are, to be honest, something I've been thinking about for a while, something I did last year, I could do with your cap for some future competition, not today, for our viewers here. Right. Can I have it? But I want that one.
It'll cost you.
How much?
Well, I'll do a deal with you.
Go on then.
You can I'll lend you the cap for a while. No, you can have it.
No, I need it. I need it.
Plenty more. You can keep it.
No, but I want this particular one. Look, from the Monza grid, Damon Hill, Grecian 2000, and you know, dandruff and everything. The actual cap. We're going to keep it safe. I don't know when we're going to do something with it, but good luck today. Don't get sunburned, will you? Know. Good luck today, mate.
I'll put my crash hat on now.
Cheers. Good luck. I want to have a quick word with Zanardi as well, if he's about. Come over here, Keithy. And because he's had a bit of a spectacular, you know, show this last couple of races. Started going well in Spa, and then he's right up here at the sharp end of the grid. He's 4th. Started going well in Spa. Now he's out-qualified Ralf Schumacher again, and he's on the 2nd row. Well, German TV are talking to him at the moment. I don't know if they're ready. Are you ready to go? You're not. You're not really ready to go. Ladies first. All right, well then. Okay, what else do you want to know? Keithy, what do they want to know? Wait.
Who's got the 2nd best job in Formula 1?
The 2nd best job in Formula 1. Presumably, we've got the best job, have we? 2nd best job in Formula 1, that's got to be the photographers. The photographers in Formula 1, as soon as the action's finished, they're back in the bar. Here's somebody now. Why are they photographing a guy with red hair? Tomo, Darren, JT. I've just said to the viewers back in England that the photographers have got the best job in Formula One. Do you agree with me?
What do you reckon, boys? Yeah.
So there's absolutely no doubt. I mean, as soon as the race, the practice finish on the track, you're down the bar, yeah? It's just a cruise, yeah?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Down.
Now, what is this FOPA thing here, JT? Look, with a pink pig.
Formula One Pigs Association.
Photographers Association, I think. Why did you choose a pink pig?
Well, look at us.
All right, that's down in the bar again. Now, joking aside, I know you guys have a massive amount of work to do for the weekend. I mean, what's it all about? Tell us what you have to do.
Well, it is the best job in the world. There's no doubt about it. You know, money can't buy this pass, and you know, there's 8.5 million people on the other side of that lens who'd love to be here.
Yeah, I got my microphone caught up in your lens, mate. Yeah, okay, but I mean, how do you get a Formula One kind of frame? I mean, I know it's a lot of skill involved.
Years of trying, really, and just dreaming of doing the job. And I think that's the same for Tomo and myself. And
Okay, so where will you be? How do you make sure you get the shot when it happens? If there's a shunt, you guys have got to make sure you're there, or a colleague of yours is there. How do you work that one out? What are you going to do today, JT?
I'm going up to the first corner, and then I'm going to do pit stops.
All right, so will you have another colleague doing some of the other corners?
Yes, I've got somebody at Parabolic and somebody at Ascari.
All right, well, I hope you get somebody in frame. Good luck, Tomo, and back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Martin. See why those old snappers chose pictures and not words down there, can't you? And we've got a competition coming up for you after the race, and stay tuned for that, won't you? And of course, that competition to win the Damon Hill Cap, we'll think of one before the end of the season. Just under 10 minutes to go to the off. Tony Jardine, what about the team orders aspect of things here?
Well, I mean, let's make the distinction first of all. You're not allowed to have team orders if it's a total fix like we saw in Australia in '98. You can't do that. But obviously, if it's tactical in those terms, then you can employ it. Most specifically, we're focusing on McLaren at the moment because Hakkinen was very upset after Spa, but he's now towing the line.
Thanks, Tony. Let's hear from David Coulthard. Very well placed to win here. Here he is, talking to Louise.
David, there's no such thing as an unimportant Grand Prix, but just how critical is today in terms of your championship aspirations?
It's an important race because if I come out of here with a bigger gap between myself and Mika, then obviously he's looking incredibly strong for another title. But what can I do? I knew that before I came here, and I didn't really do a good job in qualifying, so go out, hopefully have a good race and see where we are.
I guess Frenson's going to be the joker in the pack, really, isn't he?
Yeah, Heinz is very quick on this circuit. He's got good straight line speed, so he's able to run a bit of wing. It's going to be a race of patience, I think.
David Coulthard starting on the racing line. The grip's better there, a few more pointers for you. Mika Hakkinen has never won here. The pole sitter's only triumphed 3 times in the last 25 years. Ferrari-bound Rubens Barrichello was quickest in morning warm-up in the Stewart. Eddie Irvine says his best chance is to make a great start. We are all set for the Italian Grand Prix.